Welcome to another episode of Waves of Wisdom. In this episode, I'm going to talk somebody who is young, energetic entrepreneur who is all the way from Nepal. He is a video marketer, a TV presenter, and the owner of Speaker Videos from Nepal. Welcome to the show, Vaibhav.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are your trip to Maldives this time? How are you enjoying?
I'm enjoying every bit of it, and I'm enjoying it more when I'm with friends like you.
Thanks. We met first in Bali
Yes,
at
we
the
did.
Global Speakers
Yeah.
Summit.
Yeah.
And ever since we have been speaking about coming to Maldives, and
Sure.
here you are at last. So I don't know, like many other people I have interviewed, though, you have so many decades in this earth
Right.
so, to tell a story about how you all this started. But anyway, how did your journey into videography and what you're doing has started?
Sure.
Yeah.
A small nuances, like if you knew me as a middle school student in school,
Yeah.
you would know a few things about me, like for sure. Math, science, karate, dance, music. I was great at none of them,
Okay.
but I was good at this one thing.
Okay.
And that one skill, one ability was so good that everyone who knew Vabhav knew this one thing about me.
Okay.
And my special skill and ability was getting beaten for no reason.
All right.
I was bullied by juniors, seniors, classmates, all of them.
Mm.
I was into an addiction at the age of 14. But something happened in 2017 that changed my life. I did not know what to do, but I wanted to do something.
All
So
right.
I ended up doing everything. So my first job when I was in Nepal was literally smuggling books from India, coming back to Nepal and then selling the books in Nepal.
Yeah.
That's how I started. But I was this young kid
But why?
because I just wanted to do something.
All right.
And I thought it was fun to do. And it made a little bit of
So
money.
how do you did that?
No. So it's
Or
like I
by
live in a
train?
border city.
Okay.
So like just to know about my city, like I come from Nepal, but I don't even live in the capital. I live in a city where if you go 4 miles towards the north, you end up in a different city.
Yeah.
4 miles towards the south, it's a different country.
Yeah.
Like the most interesting thing to do is to go up an escalator in a mall. I started right there from Nepal. It was a border city. I used to study in an Indian board school. So I just go to India, I buy some books, come back, sell it in my school. And it was not necessarily for the money of it. I mean, yes, I was so excited to make my first little bit of money. I never took money from my parents after 10th grade. The reason I wanted to do it because I wanted to do something and I did not know what to do.
Yeah.
But long story short, once I did that, I started trying to do random things.
Yeah.
I sold everything from memory cards to pen drives to everything you can think of. I did random internships at news companies and tuition centers and online shopping shops. My whole pitch was, hey, my name is Vabhav. I'm 15. I'll work for you for free. I'm good at English. Can I do something for you? And eventually, while doing all of this thing, I ended up landing a TV show in Nepal's national television because I was this young kid who wanted to do something and I did not know what to do.
Yes.
So I literally called the CEO of the television, like, hey, my name is Vabhav, I'm 15. Can I run a TV show in your television?
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, come to see me. Because like he was just being nice because I was 15.
Yeah.
So the next day I go to his office, I have this proposal I make, which has like 29 font size because I have no idea how these things work. And I talked to him. He was just a nice person. He said me, hey, Vabhav, you're not ready for this, but you can come in to the studio, learn anything you want anytime.
Yeah.
So that's how I started learning about video, editing, technicals. I was the youngest TV presenter in all of South Asia at one point of time, And while I was doing all of that, there are schools around the city that started to invite me to speak. Once I started speaking to the schools, in my city, I started using videos for myself. And long story short, I was a motivational speaker for teenagers. I'd spoken to students in 54 different countries, virtually and in person, And while I was doing all of this, I had friends from the States, from different part of the world who were a part of a Facebook group that I was learning speaking from. I was making friends in. And they're like, hey, Happy, you're doing this. Can you help us as well? I'm like, sure. So I ended up helping one of them, two of them. I realized I understood how videos work for speakers. So that's how this company came into existence. Before this, I had a thriving speaking training business. We used to organize the largest student conferences. As a speaker, I had more than 4,000 paid students in my courses. I used to teach public speaking and life skills to teenagers. Right. And the reason I started this business is because I did it. And I was in Amsterdam doing an engagement for a bunch of students. I'm like, right after the engagement, I'm like, what the heck am I doing with my life? Like, I'm 20 right now and I'm trying to teach people what to do with their life. How about I do something for real? And what I knew doing was making videos to sell myself.
All
and I
right.
did a good job with it,
Okay.
So after that, I started putting myself out there. And long story short, I just reached out to a few friends in the community. I've never spent a dime in marketing other than NSA event sponsorship. Never spent a dime, no ads, no nothing. I do good work. I work with the best of the people because I produce best of the work. And that's what leads to everything coming out of it.
Wonderful. How did you learn videography at such a young age? What motivated you, or how this all came about?
So to give you an idea, right,
Yeah.
there are two angles to videos. One is production and the other is post-production. I am not good at production. Like
Yeah.
in the sense, I know that how it works, but if I'm holding a camera, I know how to film. But like my specialization comes into storytelling, strategy, editing, the brains behind it, you know, because I was in the TV world, you have to learn how editing works. So it's a unique situation where I learned the technicals of editing because of my TV show, and I learned the technicals of speaking because I had a thriving speaking business.
Yeah.
So there's this idea called, if you know Naval Ravikant, he's one of the best speakers out there. You know, he's not even a speaker; he is an investor, amazing person. You know, and he talks about something called specific knowledge. No, what do you have in your past experiences that is correlated to something that you enjoy doing? You just bring it together and that becomes a business, you know? So that's how it worked out for me. I'm not great at, like, even now, I rarely edit videos. We have a team of 25 people. They take care of everything. My whole understanding is how to do strategy, how to do storytelling, how to ideate, you know? And that's where my specialization comes in.
Wonderful. And at such a young age, you have already started having very high-end clients, especially in the speaking business. Why did you narrow your market to only speakers?
Yeah, because I want to be known as the guy who does videos for speakers, you know. There's value, there's so much value in narrowing down in the beginning. So why speakers work with me is because they understand, like, my company's name is literally Speaker Videos, you know, because once you have a specialization on something, people recognize you that you're best at it, you know, and that's how you create a brand for yourself as well, you know. If I'm the random video guy, he does everything, so he's good at nothing possibly, you know, there are exceptions. But it's easier to create a brand when your whole USP is specialization, you know, and of course, it takes a lot to specialize. Like, we talk to a lot of meeting planners, we talk to a lot of speakers. I know that when a speaker does a deal with me, he'll get booked more because I'll change the way meeting planners look at him, you know. So there's value in narrowing down because I believe that establishes you as an expert at what you do.
And you become more perfect at what you do as well, right? By doing that.
Yeah.
Talking about that, what are the important aspects a speaker should look at when they are doing their reels, videos, or speaker websites, or what kind of techniques or styles they should?
The most important thing I would say for the whole branding as a whole when it comes to speaker is the most important thing.
Because videos is one aspect of the whole brand.
Yeah, very true. Branding comes first. You know, here's the thing, right? The whole idea of branding, like speaker positioning, because we work with speakers who charge 50,000, we work with speakers who charge 10,000, we work with speakers who charge 1,000, you know, all of them. And the whole difference between $1,000 and $50,000 speakers, a lot of times is not their speaking. No, it's not that. A lot of time, it's their positioning. And the whole idea for speakers who get paid more and get booked more often is that they stand on authenticity. Like, what are they doing that is unique? You know, what is that one liner that they have that sets them apart? There is, like, throw a rock and you'll find another leadership speaker. Throw a rock and you'll find another mental health speaker. No, you have to have a unique specialization in the word, like, who are you serving? What do you serve them with? You know, that's the most important aspect. And that reflects in all of your branding elements thereafter as well. But are you showing up consistently with the brand that you have as a speaker? You know, like, if you have a brand of a speaker who's about happiness, can you show up with as that person all the time? A lot of times I also recommend speakers to use, and this is a little more technical, how many B-rolls are you using in your content? How often are you showing with all of those technical stuff as well? Those are the things
for the benefit of our viewers. What is a B-roll?
A B-roll basically is background roll. Basically, when you are just doing random live things, you take shots of yourself. And A-roll basically means, like, the direct first camera that we are using, right? A B-roll basically means a secondary footage of you doing random things that are relevant in the technical
stuff. So when you're speaking, that's why we see some of these videos, speakers, reels and stuff like that, or even other reels. We see when somebody is speaking about something, they suddenly show some other videos, but the speaker's voice.
Yes. So basically, a footage of you signing a book is a B-roll. A footage of you shaking someone's hand is a B-roll. You know,
but not necessarily you are talking about that.
Yeah. So you have to be making sure that you're using relevant. Like these are personal B-rolls. There are tons of stock B-rolls that you can find on the website, but it's always better to use your own B-rolls if you can.
Okay. So I see this is the second time today at the Modi Speaker Summit. I have seen you speak second time. And I always see you this very passionate and when you are telling these stories as if, this is the thing you are born. When I speak, I feel like that when I hear you speak, I feel like that you are telling indirectly that, come on guys, this is what I'm born for. Feel that way, really?
I do feel about that for a lot of different ways, I feel like I'm born to listen to stories and share stories.
Okay.
And that I can actualize in a lot of different ways. It can be video, it can be other things. And the way I approach, like, I don't like creating pressure for myself that this is what I'm going to do for the next 60 years of my life, Like, for example, 5 years ago, I was the biggest education guy in my part of the world. I used to work with schools and all of that stuff with my training and speaking. Right now, I love what I do with video, which is something that could change 3 years later.
Yeah.
I don't create that pressure for myself that I need to stick to do this.
Yes.
I have a brand I have created among speakers.
Yeah.
The best of the speakers in almost all of the countries know me for what I do, However, that does not mean I have to stick with this forever, and I give myself that liberty to, make different choices and grow in different directions.
I have to tell you this. You are the second Gen Z appearing on my podcast. And the first one I interviewed even in Singapore, he's a Singaporean. I asked him, what is your future plans? He said, we don't plan more than a year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to plan.
Is it a Gen Z thing that you don't plan like more than a year or so?
Yeah, it's not
because
a norm.
people of our age, like we plan 5 years, 10 years.
I have goals that I want to pursue, but I'm not in a pressure. With the grace of God, like I know what I'm doing with my life, with the grace of God again. However, why would I want to say that this is what I want to do for next 30 years?
All right.
Maybe yes, maybe not. Maybe I find something I enjoy even more and that's what I'm going to do then. Maybe there's something that is making more sense for me and I'm still more happy while I do that. I don't create that pressure for myself. I don't do that. Sure. I mean, I'm enjoying a lot with grace of God of what I do now. But if tomorrow I wake up and I feel like I want to do something different, I'm not saying I'm not going to do it.
So my next question is, if you happen to pivot into a new area like that, will you have the same passion as you have now?
If I would like to believe so, you know. This passion has less to, I mean, I love video marketing. That's my thing, But even if we meet tomorrow and I have nothing to do with video marketing, I will probably appear with the same passion because it's not a passion for the job, it's passion for life. And I have things that I want to do in my life. I have things that I want to, like my next goal is I want to travel around 50 countries in the next 2 years.
Wonderful.
And I want to do that with a single backpack, no luggage. I want to live with strangers. Like this is more of a business podcast, so that's what you hear from me, I've done podcasts where I'm with people of my age and we're talking. My interesting stories are I backpacked all across Europe in one backpack with 0 hotels. I lived with strangers.
All right.
I did not know what I was going to do for the next
Airbnbs
day. No Airbnbs. I literally find random people, like even when I was in Singapore, I find random people and I live with them. Yeah, it is, so that's the thing. I've lived with random strangers in more than 18 countries now. I just go to cafes, I meet people, I talk to them. I did something called the Smiley Mission, where I met more than 5,000 people in the street, random people, and I ask them to smile. I take pictures with them. I laugh, and I ask them what makes them happy. That's what I do. As a speaker, I know when I speak to my audience as a speaker, to the teenagers, every time after the speech, 30 to 40% of the audience will cry. I enjoyed speaking. The reason I stopped professionally speaking as a speaker is because I think it is a very, very, again, I operate in this market. Like if you're only speaking and doing nothing, it makes no sense to me. Like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? So, I mean, I did great at that, but then I wanted to do something new. So I did this. And tomorrow, if I feel like doing something else, why not? Sure. Yeah.
So tell me, if you're not doing video marketing, what would you do?
I'll take a backpack and travel the world tomorrow.
That's it?
Yeah. For now, that's the
goal. For now, that's the
And then after that, I have other goals of things I'm like I know there's a big market lateral to speaking, which is to do with authors. A lot of authors who publish books come up with their book not to make money. No one makes money in books. They do it because they want to present themselves better. And so my job is, okay, how can I help them market? Because they're already like in a business perspective,
Yeah.
they're investing like in the US when someone is publishing a book, an average they're spending anywhere between $5 to $50,000 to publish. That's a great market I want to explore. There are other markets that have to do with startup founders. I have a company registered that has to help with startup founders in Singapore with video marketing. That's a different business dimension. I might want to try that out. I like to operate my personal life with like my personal life with uncertainty and business with like a little bit of certainty of what I'm going to do. So yeah, I hope that gives a little bit perspective.
Yeah, that's quite interesting, and I'm sure after a few years it might be good to record another podcast with you
Yeah.
and in your life, right? So, how do you think this kind of passion, especially from a person of your age, the Gen Z and the next generation Alpha, which is coming, for them actually to relate to the topic which I'm very passionate about these days, is actually becoming unretirable.
Yeah.
So one of the things is like this is pivoting mindset which you has as youngsters, which we didn't have, because we like to have more stable jobs, stable careers, more safety net, security around, and because we thought if we lose our job, we will not have a way to earn our living and things like that. But I see in young generation like you who are very much interested in like finding what is the best next thing for yourself. And I see that very fascinating. I feel that very fascinating because I see that as always, you are always looking for growth. You are always looking for next opportunity and things like that. How do you think that mindset can help you to continue doing something you are always passionate about, or something you are passionate about, whatever you're doing, which is a passion for you and serving some purpose in your life?
I believe for me personally, the passion comes from work, but along with it, and this is not very common in my generation, as we call Gen Z or Gen Alpha, is my passion comes from my God. I believe I'm very high on my faith. God is very important to me. And for me, my passion and energy comes because when I'm running this business, like video marketing is a very articulate business. We have, as a company, we produce more than 800 videos a month, social media demo videos, and there's a lot of nuances and things happening. Keeps me like there are a lot of like one of the things known in agency business is people get exhausted and burnt out, and they feel like they're dead and they're still operating the business. What gives me the energy is my relationship with my God. That's what helps me out, and that's what I think my generation needs to hear, because we don't believe, like a lot of people in my generation don't believe in that stuff. Number one. And number two, in terms of how that energy is going to transmit into other things, like your personality comes from who you are within. And from me within, who am I? At the end of the day, I'm a soul who is seeking joy, who is joyful, within. And just being able to translate that into everything that I do as I do it is how it would come across.
So you think you'll be continue doing it all the time?
I mean, I would be open to what life has to offer for me. I love being this kid who's energetic, joyful, happy, blissed, for the most part, with the grace of God again. Yeah. I don't want to create pressure of how I want to feel, but it's been years where I feel energetic most of the time, and I want to continue feeling alive. There's this quote in in Hindi, translated into English, is like, if you're alive, it must feel and look like you're alive.
Others better you be dead.
Yeah.
There are people who are like alive, but
Are they alive?
no life to it.
Yeah.
Right? So this is very important. I think this actually comes to a point in the book which I'm written about becoming unretirable, and is because people after retirement, for example, they have no life. They have no passion. They have no purpose in their life.
What is your definition of retirement?
Typically, a retirement is you work for a certain number of years, you stop working, and then stay at home. Right? So I'm telling people not to do that, becoming unretirable.
So because you mentioned that, there's a big movement going on in the Gen Z generation. There's a movement called FIRE. Have you heard of it?
I have.
So, financial independence, retire.
This is what we have been taught
Right.
teaching the Gen Zs.
Yeah.
I think that is a mistake for a lot of
Right.
us, because I'm also from the financial industry as well.
Right.
And a lot of times we talk about these things,
Yeah.
and then I think people have started adopting, and there were so many viral videos about these things. People are always saying, this is how I made $1 million in 1 year and so on. And every Gen Z want to become that. But actually, I'm telling, the finance is not the end of the story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would 100% agree
Yeah.
with you on that. Yeah.
So how do you think, actually, you are about to tell that your Gen Zs
Yeah.
are very much into doing this? How do you think they should think, actually?
I mean, I think no one should tell anyone how they should think.
Yeah,
However,
but
like I can share my idea of
okay.
what it would mean, in the sense that for me, what is really important is to live a life of freedom. And that freedom, most people think when they think of the word freedom, it means like not doing anything or
become financially free.
yeah. So yeah, that's the general definition.
Yeah.
But true freedom comes when you're able to make your own choices.
Yeah.
And there's a depth to it.
Yeah.
When I go to a shop and I want to eat, like there are a lot of different things, and I want to eat a candy, do I want to eat that candy, or am provoked to eat that candy because I've been advertised about it so many freaking times?
Yeah,
Like
okay.
I don't own my choices. For me, freedom means being able to own my choices and do what I want from within.
Okay.
I think that's something a lot of young people aspire to have. If I were to give a general advice to all the young people like me, and I would like to give myself an advice, it would be to open up more in life, because
Okay.
a lot of people my generation are done with life. They're sitting, they are so much in tune with, okay, college, work, life, married. There's like a whole definition
Yeah.
of how life is supposed to be like,
Supposed to be, yeah.
of what it should be, because the world has told that's how it's supposed to be. It's not necessary, and young people get to make their own choices. That's what I would say, open up to life. And there's so much value in working super hard when you're young. Like, with the grace of God, I work like 16 hours a day in average, like 14 to 16 hours a day in average for most of the days. Taken a weekend off in a long time. I'm able to do that for the most part because I love what I do, and there's a goal I have as well. But my advice, if I were to share a generic thing, is go out there and show up with finding what you love and going all in on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very important, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that is something people of our age and people retired can really learn from the new generation. Yeah, I'm not going to ask you about share any wisdom or anything like that, because you are not at the age of like wisdom.
Right.
Most people will say, who is this early 20
Right.
guy who must say about
Right.
wisdom? But what is something you think which my audience, especially the people in their mid careers or early careers, should think about a day when they cannot work or when they are going to retire? From now on, what they should be thinking?
My answers would be a little bit weird.
Yeah.
The first thing I would suggest is, again, for me and for everyone else, is talk to strangers. And that's a very generic advice. But talk to people who are strangers.
Okay.
What I mean by that is when you go to that cafe and you have that random person sitting and they look interesting, go and talk to them about life. If you are going out there, because before I did all of this speaking, remember, like before this business, I was a random guy who has talked to 5,000 strangers in the street and just talked to them about life and happiness. And what I'll tell you is, all of us at the end of the day want to be happy.
Yeah.
And that happiness comes from sharing happiness.
Yeah.
So being out there, going out there from an open place of talking to strangers and learning and experiencing other way of life is something that, number one, I would highly recommend.
Yeah.
The second thing is asking yourself, what's the worst that can happen? All of us operate from this place where I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. This is like we live a life inside a cage and we don't even know that we are inside that cage. If you can just open up and ask yourself, what will happen if I leave the cage? The door is literally in your hand, and if you leave, you are like, okay, I'll sink, I'll die, I'll get eaten. But wait, if you get out, you can probably fly as well. Coming in and operating from
a bird can only fly when they get out of
exactly,
a cage, right?
so being able to open, being able to be open to life and asking yourself the most important question, what's the worst that can happen? Like if there's a dream that you have, you want to chase and you make it right, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? And that's been a guiding principle for me, at least, and how it has actualized for me in my life.
Wonderful. What a nice way to end our podcast. And I really loved your energy and the perspectives you brought as Gen Z. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Weber, being on my show, and it's really a pleasure to talk to you again and meet you
Appreciate
here
it.
in Maldives.
Appreciate.
Host you, it is really a pleasure.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yes, appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And for our viewers, until we come back again, as Vaibhav has said in this episode, don't forget to open up yourself, go out there, talk to strangers, open your cage. Don't forget to become awesome beings. And those, as Vaibhav said, some people are living, they are alive, but are they living? Question that for yourself until they come back. Thank you.